one, the only, Emily Swallow!
Good morning. Hi. Whoa, that is really loud. Hi. How are you?
So Emily, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here today.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
How have you been enjoying the con so far?
It's been fantastic. Yeah, everyone is delightful. I'm happy with the weather here. It's been good.
The weather is surprisingly good. You
That's
must have
what
brought
I
that with
hear,
you.
yeah. I'll take it.
So how has it been meeting the fans? Have you had any kind of memorable interactions so far?
Oh my gosh, yes. I always love seeing my Mando cosplayers. There's a lot of good cosplay game here. It's very strong. But I just love getting to do these and hearing, you know, what people's connections are to the shows and how it inspires them to do cosplay, to do their own storytelling. It's fantastic.
So obviously you mentioned the cosplay. I think most people here are here to talk about The Mandalorian and Star Wars.
I figure, but if you have a question about Supernatural or anything else, don't be afraid. There's an Amara cosplay! I love it. That one's a little more comfortable than the armor.
Amazing. And again, folks, please don't be shy. If you have any questions, please start forming a queue at the microphone and we will throw over to you in just a couple of minutes. But first off, Star Wars, were you a fan of the series?
Yes, I was a fan. I did not know how much I didn't know when I got cast. I mean, I'd seen all the movies and I'd seen some of the Ewok specials when I was little because Ewoks were like my gateway into Star Wars. Because I don't know, when Return of the Jedi came out, I was under 5, and so I just liked the furry little creatures. But yeah, when I got cast on the show, I realized how much I did not know, and I was very grateful to have Dave Filoni there so I could ask him any and every question about Mandalorian lore and what people already knew and what they didn't know, you know, what we were creating in our world. And I continue to learn more. When I come to conventions and I get to hear lots of theories about who the armor might be and other rabbit holes that people like to go down. So it's sort of infinite storytelling.
So you talk about when you were cast in the show. How did that come up? How did you first hear about the project?
My audition was so boring and run-of-the-mill because I tell people I audition for maybe 100 things a year. I might get 1 or 2. So this was just another audition that came my way. They said they thought it might be Star Wars, but at this point there hadn't been any other Star Wars live action series. Disney Plus did not exist. It was a new platform. So it was all shrouded in mystery, as these things often are. But I'm so glad that I didn't know more about what it was because I think I would have been freaked out to do the audition. And instead I was just able to prepare for it like I always do and go in and do my best with this very mysterious character. And then as I started to, as I got the offer and then I started learning who was connected to it and then I started to freak out a little bit. But I'm really glad that I had so little knowledge because it lessened the stress.
So, your character, the Armorer, has a very unique challenge in that you never see their face.
Right.
But not only that, you had to act mainly in scenes where you can't see anyone else's face.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge was that? How did you approach that?
There are multiple challenges. First of all, I will tell you that as dignified as we all look in our helmets and our armor, you don't get to see all the times when we run into each other and trip on things. And in particular, I mean, one of the very first scenes that I was doing with Din Djarin, where we're both sitting down at my very tiny table in the forge, both of us kind of had to, you know, get down to these low stools and we're leaning forward a little bit and we just kept like bonking helmets. I really enjoyed the challenge of trying to uncover how this woman who was covered would express herself, and it was a huge lesson in trust because I am very naturally like very animated and I jump around a lot and I fidget a lot and I make weird expressions, and so it required a lot of trial and error and getting feedback about what played and what didn't. And we learned pretty quickly that very small movements did a lot, especially if the camera is in tight close-up on your helmet. Like the tiniest little turn of the head can convey volumes. So I really just I had to slow down and breathe more and trust more. And then I started to trust the feeling of it. And then once I got to see it after the first season, I was like, okay, this is working. So subsequently, it's been easier every time I get back into the armor.
Amazing. So you talk about how difficult it was to convey emotion and movement, but there's also a lot of action scenes.
Yes.
How much involvement did you have in that? Was there any special training you had to go through?
I did. Because I was not equipped to do it in season 1. I knew that there was going to be a fight. And I asked if I could do it, and our wonderful stunt coordinator said, do you have any martial arts training? And at that point I did not, so I said, no, but I've done stage combat, I'm very active, I learned choreography, but he was like, oh, that's really cute. And so we had like 2 weeks before that scene was shooting, and he said, well, you can train in Kali, which is the martial art that it's based on. He said, and maybe we'll use you for some transitions or something. So I didn't actually see that fight until the episode aired, and when I saw it, I went, oh, okay, I get it. Like, you would have seen me working really hard to try to pull that off, and I might have come close, but it would have been an effort. And Lauren Mary Kim, who was my stunt double for that, is just magnificent. I mean, she's done that since she was a child. And subsequently, I have trained with her. I've trained with Diana Leona Santo, who has she's been doing it since she was a child because of her dad. And so I've gotten to pick up more and more of it. And I at least learn all of the fight sequences and the stunts. Sometimes they won't let us do it because they don't want us to be at risk, because if we get hurt, then they're kind of stuck. But it is helpful for me to know what that language of movement is. And they're really collaborative. If there's something that feels like it wouldn't be true to the character in one of the fights, they listen to that and we talk about it. And I absolutely love with her that she never picks up anything other than her hammer and tongs. It's so fundamental and rudimentary, and I love that about her. So but it's been so much fun to get to learn some of those sequences, and it feels incredible. Of course, it's a whole different thing to do it when you're in your yoga pants and your tank top, and then you put on all the armor and you put on the helmet and you can't really see. So, I mean, the stunt performers that we have that do most of that are next level to be able to pull that off.
Oh, amazing. And you comment on finding the character and things that are kind of fundamental, like the hammer and tools. Where did the British accent come into that?
That really just happened because in my audition, the casting director said they had mostly been seeing British actors in their 50s and 60s, and so I should do a take with a British dialect. And I've done lots of various British dialects for mostly theater stuff. I'd also done it for Castlevania, for Lisa Tepish. And so I did a take that way, and then John decided he wanted to keep that just because it sort of set her apart. So it's sort of a British-ish, it's not any specific region, but it does, it lends something, I think, a little more mystery to the character.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we could talk about this all day, but we do have a queue of very patient.
Hello, friends.
So, sir, if you step up to the microphone, what's your question?
So it's already been partly asked by yourself, but the people that, the properties I know you from are Mandalorian, Supernatural, and Castlevania. And each of those are you're in the armor, you're in a studio, or you're just on screen. So it's 3 very different methods of acting, 3 very different ways of doing things. So what sort of challenges did you face with each of those, or compare and contrast, what did you like, what did you not like, that sort of stuff between the 3 methods of being on screen?
Yeah, I actually have never gotten that question before. Thank you. And people do ask, which I prefer, voice acting or I guess full person acting. I would always, my favorite is in-person acting because I love collaboration, and more voice acting is going to a place where you're kind of in your studio by yourself, you're recording on your own, and you just don't get that give and take. But Amara, which was the first one of those 3 that I did, was challenging because I'd never played somebody who had any sort of like superpowers or supernatural ability. And it was a weird thing to try to source. I mean, every character that I do, no matter how they move, I'm trying to think about, okay, what generates that movement? Where is their center? Are they heart-centered? Are they more from their gut? Are they more from their head? And I guess similar to what I found with the Armorer, it was sort of hard to trust at first, because when you're recording it, when you're filming it, you know, you stand there and you hold your arm out and nothing's happening, and then somebody's supposed to die, and you're just like, well, how does that work? And so I was like, do I need to do something? But it did feel like for her that less was more, and that her power also came from a lot of observation. You know, she's completely new in this world and trying to take things in and figure out why all these people think her dumb brother Chuck is so amazing. And then once I saw an episode with some of the CGI, I started to trust it more, and that felt better. With the Armorer, yeah, I had done mask work on stage, but the difference is that when you're seeing me on stage right now, you can see my whole body the whole time. So it's easier, I think, to kind of chart, what's going on with a person when you can see all of them. And when your face is covered on film, you don't know when it's going to be a tight shot, when they're going to see your whole body, when the camera's not even on you. So that is a lot more of a collaboration with the director or with the editor to understand like what they're trying to capture and when you need to move, which I love a puzzle, so I love trying to figure that out. And then with voice acting, like with Lisa, the thing that is wonderful about it is that you don't have to worry at all about how you're moving. You can be there in the booth and you can do whatever you need to do. And then you get to see what their vision is of your character. So it's always a fun surprise to see how that turns out. But I love them all. I love a challenge. I'm attracted to a character that interests me more than anything else, whether it's comedy or drama or voice acting or video game. I've done some motion capture, but just selfishly, I love honestly, I love being on stage in theater more than anything else, because it is such a in-the-moment event. It's only happening that way with this group of people that time, and it's going to be slightly different every other time, and it's a real community experience, and that's thrilling to me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the question.
Fantastic, great question. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the technical assist.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Aidan, and just to say welcome to Scotland. Thanks for being here. So I have two questions, and just before that, I'm going to show you this. I have the
Oh, that is sharp.
the tattoo. Yeah. So my first question is, are you familiar with Doctor Who?
Slightly.
Slightly. Okay, but this is a regular sci-fi question anyway.
Okay.
So if I turned up to your place in the TARDIS, which is a time machine,
Right.
and I offered to take you on a trip anywhere in time and space. when would you like to go, and when would you like to go, and why, basically?
Well, I'm very much steeped in UK history right now, actually, because I'm working on a Shakespeare play called Richard II. I'm doing that off Broadway back in New York, and so I've been learning a lot about British history. And then, of course, I came here and I went to see the castle, and so I have become very curious about what it was actually like to live during those times. And that seems like a fun period to, like 1500s, 1600s, to just dip my toes in, but then leave, because I'm sure there's a lot of things I don't want to deal with. But there is something. So this play that we're working on is about, the real King Richard II, but Shakespeare took his own liberties. But it's so interesting to see, and very humbling to see how the same dynamics come up again and again about having power, having ideals, what you have to prioritize when you're in a position of power, what you have to let go of, and how we are constantly grappling with those questions again and again and again. We see those same things in American politics. I'm sure there's still similar dynamics here with the monarchy. And so I'm in this moment, I'm pretty fascinated by that, and I'd like to go back and see what it's like to maybe live in a castle for a few days. And then go back to my comfy air conditioning and heater and showers, stuff like that.
We've
Yeah.
got plenty of castles here.
Sorry?
So we've got plenty of castles
I
here.
know, yeah. They're kind of cool.
My second question was, obviously I'm a Supernatural fan as well, so I just wanted to know, just what was it like your time working with the boys, and did they ever try and prank you? That's it.
It's so hard to work with those guys because they're just so boring and ugly. It's really a struggle, but I endured. No, I mean, every wonderful story you've heard about them is true, which is particularly remarkable because I came into the show in season 11. And you never know when you go into a long-running show what the atmosphere is. You know, sometimes people are grateful that they have the work, but they're also kind of tired. They've been, you know, doing the same thing for years, and they might have a way that they like to do it, and you just have to figure that out. And this show was entirely different. They were so excited to have a new person there, and I saw them this way with all the guest stars. They wanted to know what was exciting to me about the character, what I wanted to bring to it. And because the show can be kind of dark, there is a lot of absolute idiocy that happens when we're not shooting. I never got pranked. I mean, I like to think it was because maybe I was just so intimidating. I did have to endure a lot of Jared's flatulence. He likes to pull that one out. And we definitely had plenty of times where we were like shooting late into the night and we were all just delirious, and Ruth and I made up a lot of songs about how cold it was, and she and I tried to prank everyone once, but it was like one of the few times there were two women in a scene together, and I think everyone was so determined to be respectful that they didn't even realize we were trying to prank them. They thought we were just like making an acting choice, and then the camera cut and we were like, "You guys, did you see that?" And they were like, "Yeah, that was good, that was good." And then, and it involved like her grabbing my boob, like we thought it was ridiculous. They thought, well, we don't want to laugh at the women, so we're just gonna take it seriously. And they didn't even know. So they were like, you know, they were all trying very hard to be very respectful, and then the whole thing tanked. But it was, I mean, and even people that I didn't work with on the show, I get to meet all of them at conventions, and everyone to a T is just so generous and collaborative and fun and so smart, and I think that that's why the show lasted as long as it did. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Yes?
What was it like? Can you be any more specific? Were there any scenes what? I mean, I liked them all. It was incredible to go to work and to look around and to say, I'm getting to play Star Wars, but this is our job. And everyone had that sense of childlike, ooh, just like excitement about it. Everyone loved it so much, loves it so much. And again, like everyone was just so generous, and it's a place where I was particularly impressed with John and Dave, because they are indisputably, they're geniuses, you know? They know what they're doing. They know the story they want to tell, but they put so much trust in their actors and in the designers who do the set and the costumes and everything, and you really feel like it's a team that's working together. And especially the more we got to know these characters, they really trusted what we had to say about them and ideas that we would offer. And so it just felt like it was amazing to me how much trust they put into us, considering, I guess, you know, how much was riding on it. Like some directors might look at that and feel like they have to keep a very tight hold on the control and, you know, make sure that like everything is micromanaged. And they knew when to micromanage when it was important, but they also gave us such creative freedom. So it was really joyful to do, and I just value it so much. It's a wonderful, wonderful group of people.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Hi, I want to ask, if they offered you to do a spin-off with Q+A Panel, would you do it?
Oh my gosh, yes! Because I think it would be ridiculous. I love Rob so much, and I was glad when I got to come back season 15 that we got to see even though it didn't really end so well for me, you got to see the lighter side of their dynamic, and there was that like sibling bickering, because I feel like, of course, that would exist. And after we finished season 11, we came up with all these ideas about what happened to them. We were gonna, we never did it, but we were gonna like do a kind of a web series of like Chuck and Amara and family counseling, like wondering what kind of issues would come up. And I think they would have had like maybe a traveling band. I thought it would be fun if we like popped up in the back of random episodes and like nobody commented on it, but you just saw them back there. I think there's still so much to explore in that dynamic, and I adore Rob, so of course I would do a spinoff. And I gotta get unabsorbed somehow. So we gotta work on that.
That's a great question. We are starting to run out of time, but we should be able to get through everyone if we're quick.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just going to ask what you thought you and Chuck would get up to, but that's just been asked. So, is there any characters that you think that you'd have liked to have, like Amara and them, is there any characters that you didn't get to interact with that you would have liked to?
Well, even though I did get to interact with Rowena, I really wanted more. I thought, and Ruth and I were both hoping maybe that one episode that we had together, you know, we were like, they could be a really powerful duo. And I think it'd be fun to, like, they could be kind of like Thelma and Louise. We could follow them on a road trip, and I think that would be pretty entertaining. But who did I not interact with that I would like to? Definitely Sheriff Donna, because I think Amara would just be like, what is this woman all about? And I also love Brianna, so that's a selfish wish. So many of the other women, you know, we don't get to see the women together that much on the show. And I think probably if they joined forces, they would be incredibly capable and incredibly powerful. I also love DJ so much, so I want to hang out with Garth. I mean, there's so many, I love Richard, so Gabriel, and I guess we're maybe somehow related, I don't know. I don't really understand the family tree of Supernatural. But yeah, there's so many that I would like to hang out with. I think also I might need to talk with Mary a little bit and see how she felt about me bringing her back from the dead. Sort of an awkward gift to give someone. And opinions are still out about whether it was a good idea. But yeah, I mean, that show has so many interesting characters, and you could do spin-offs in a million different directions. Who do you think Amara should hang out with?
I like the idea of you talking to Mary actually, and just being like, yeah, but she obviously didn't really enjoy being back.
Yeah,
so.
we could be like, let's talk about Dean. What's his deal? Thank you, and I love your cosplay.
Thank you.
Amazing question, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hello again.
Hi.
I've had two questions, but I'm just going to ask one. Just to get it out of my chest. This is the way.
This is the way.
What is this? How many times have you had that said to you on the street? And what is it that is so iconic about that line? I mean, why is it that so many people are saying it? What is it? It's like so
It was a
important.
pretty smart line for them to put in there, right? I think because it predates the show. I mean, you can find versions of "This is the way" in the Bible, in Buddhism. You know, it's remarkably useful. It can be used in a lot of different situations, but I think we as humans are kind of always looking for the way on a very deep level. And so maybe there's something about it that is comforting to have somebody say to you, this is the way, because, you know, we're making constant decisions, both trivial and very deep and important. And yes, I have had it used, you know, to give directions. I've said it many times without even realizing I was saying it. Yeah, I've had people say, is this the way? I have people come by my table at conventions and they say, this is not the way because I'm not wearing my helmet. To which I say, there's fine print in the creed that gives me permission to not wear my helmet. But yeah, I think that it really connects on a deep level, and it makes us think. So I guess that's why it's so, and I have said it more times than I could ever begin to count, but I never get sick of it. I'm so glad that my catchphrase is something that is simple and iconic and not obnoxious to say all the time.
Is the helmet heavy to wear? It just looks
It's not.
Just its gold. It's just like, wow, that looks heavy.
It's not heavy. It's not super comfortable because there's a lot, like there's a mic pack in there because they do record my voice while we're filming. So it gets hot, you can't see much, but it's not heavy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, last couple of questions. There we go.
Hi Emily, I'm Kirsty. I was just wondering if you give my son a wee, he's a big fan of
Where is he?
Supernatural. He's got the blue Defenders Purple.
What's up?
He's a big fan of yours. I'm also a big fan of Supernatural, but I was wondering, since a lot of the Supernatural cast are joining The Boys for the last season, are you going to join The Boys?
I mean, I'm waiting for my call. I don't think any ladies have showed up there, have they? Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yes.
I did audition for one of the characters, Scarlett something or other. I don't remember her full name. She had an interaction with Soldier Boy, and then I don't think she had it. I mean, there's a lot of people who wind up having a disastrous end on that show. But yeah, I'm waiting for the call from Kripke. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last question, closing out in
Hello,
style.
lovely.
So, just a quick thing for the visibility in the helmet. It's really good to smear your visor inside with shaving foam.
Oh.
No water, just a little globe and just wipe it.
Helpful
everywhere.
cosplay tip
And
for everyone.
It's amazing. It actually works so well. There's no condensation. There's no fog. Nothing.
Yeah.
And also for the people in the back, once again, what is the way?
This is the way.
This is the way.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's as good a note as any to end the show on.
Thank you everyone for showing up early on a Sunday.
Well, thank you all so much for the questions. No, it is early on a Sunday morning. And Emily, do you have any closing comments for all your fans here in our?
I just appreciate you so much. I love doing these conventions, and it means so much that there's so much support for these stories that we tell. Because there's so many phenomenal actors in the world, and not everyone is fortunate enough to be on a show that has a really supportive fandom. And I just treasure that so much, and I do not take it for granted. So thank you.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, big round of applause for Emily Swans! Folks, once again, give it up for Emily Swans! And of course, don't forget, folks, Emily will be around all day through in the Celebrity Zone if you do want another chance to meet her. But don't go far, folks.